Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Without further ado, here we go.
With the following critical incident video, the Fresno Police Department is sharing information about an officer-involved shooting that occurred on May 9th with our community. Following critical incident and recordings. Due to the graphic nature of this video, viewer discretion is advised. At 11:17 a.m., the Fresno Police Department dispatch received a 911 call from a homeowner reporting that her son, 27-year-old Austin Flores, was in her backyard in violation of a restraining order.
911, state your emergency.
Yes, this has to do with an emergency restraining order on my son. He happens to be at the residence. I have the police report number, or what can
What's
I
the
give you?
address?
It's West Portland, C-O-R-T-L-A-N-D Avenue.
The caller indicated her son was intoxicated from possible drug use. Officers from the Fresno Police Department's Central Policing District were dispatched to the address.
Single one priority violation of an restraining order at Portland. RP just pulled up and her estranged son is passed out by her back door. The HMA, 27 years old, of 6'1", wearing dark pants and a dark black shirt. Possibly high. RP says there's a piece of foil that appears burnt, unknown what type of drug, and no weapon seen.
Flores' mother again called 911 to report her son brandished a firearm and made a threat should law enforcement arrive.
I need to give you an update.
Okay.
He just came out of the side of the house and he brandished a gun. He had on his waistband. He brandished a gun. He said, if they come for me, I'm ready for them. It's a fake one? Okay, my mother is saying it's a fake. My mother, I think it's a fake one. He has, to my knowledge, he has no bullets. I saw a fake one on the dirt.
Okay, what did it look like?
It's just like a toy fake gun. Okay, well, I'm on the phone right now, and I've been outside in the house. I've been outside, and I've been monitoring him to make sure he hasn't left the house. He thought it was funny, and he came out with the gun underneath his belt. He said, if they come for me, I'm ready. That's what he said to me.
Okay. But you think now it was a toy?
I don't know, officer. I don't trust
Okay,
my
what
son.
is it? So what did it look like?
It
So
was a
what color
big
was it?
black revolver, a big black revolver.
Mr. Flores was known to law enforcement to have a .380 caliber firearm registered to him. In addition, he had an outstanding felony warrant for a prohibited person in possession of a firearm and ammunition, as well as a misdemeanor warrant for resisting an officer in possession of tear gas. The caller indicated her son was likely sitting inside a white car parked in the backyard. Officers arrived and established a perimeter around the residence. An arrest team of officers approached the home and detected movement in the back seat of the white vehicle. Mr. Flores noticed the officers and began to open the rear passenger door. Officers moved to cover and gave Mr. Flores commands to surrender. He did not comply. As officers moved to a new position, they saw that Mr. Flores had what appeared to be a firearm in his hand. It was not until after the incident was over that detectives determined it to be a replica firearm.
All right, let me back this up real quick. Bam. Long gun out. I fucking love it. One of my biggest gripes about these videos and officers responding to calls where there is a gun or a weapon reported to be there and none of them get long guns out. This guy looks like he's been there for a while. He's got a couple little stripes there on his sleeve. He's got a long gun out. Now, I spoke too soon. So there's yellow on that. That means that's less lethal. All right. Hopefully we see a live long gun, like a lethal shotgun or rifle. This is a less lethal, so I spoke a little too soon.
No, he's in there. I got moving. Hey, backseat. He's back. He's coming up. He sees us.
Fresno Police Department, show me your hands!
Mom, back up.
Show me your hands! Fresno Police Department, show me your hands! We have a police canine here. If you take out front, we're going to send the dog. You may be bitten by the dog. Come out now. It's the Fresno Police Department. You're surrounded, dude. Come out now.
Hey, do we want to go use the garage?
Yeah, you want to go?
Yeah, go.
Sarge, we're gonna cross. We're gonna cross. Go, go.
He's closing the door.
Go, gun, gun, gun!
Watch out.
Gun, gun, gun! Show me your hands, dude! Don't do that! Show me your hands! Show me your hands!
Here, Sarge, you go up. You go up.
Take cover. We can help you back. Back up.
Bring some cars up.
Alright, go. Back up. Back up. Show me your hands, dude! Back up.
Hey, we need to put a body here though to protect Grandma. We need to put bodies. We. Here.
Go.
He's closing the door.
Go, gun, gun, gun!
Okay. So, the way it looks is the only long gun in play is a less lethal shotgun. And as I said earlier, that's my biggest gripes when it comes to these kind of videos where officers are responding to calls that involve weapons. They neglect to get long guns out. A rifle or a shotgun is going to outperform a pistol every day of the week. I don't give a shit what kind of argument you try to throw at me. You're wrong. They are better for accuracy, and they are better for terminal ballistics and stopping the fight faster. Pistols obviously work. That's what's used the majority of the time. However, they're not as efficient as a rifle or a shotgun. The only reason why we carry pistols is because pistols are convenient and they're comfortable to be able to carry for long periods of time. You can carry a gun on you all day, or a handgun on you all day long, and not think much about it. Plenty of people who can still carry guns all damn day. Don't think anything of it. Police officers carry guns in a duty belt or a duty holster on a duty belt for 8, 10, 12, 16 hours out of the day, sometimes even longer. And it's, although cumulatively all that shit can cause some back pain, just the gun itself, it's not like it's a big cumbersome thing. You try to wear a slung rifle for 8 hours out of the day, yeah, that shit sucks. It really does. Just wearing it for like a couple hours sucks ass. The damn sling starts like really digging and rubbing into your neck. Like that's probably one of the more like annoying things about it, is that fucking sling digging into your neck. And it's just cumbersome. Like there's no like easy way to wear a rifle all day while you're doing different stuff. So it is more comfortable and convenient to carry a pistol all damn day long versus a rifle. A rifle just kind of gets in the way of everything. A shotgun, whatever, gets in the way of everything. Just imagine like having a slung rifle and like walking through the station or walking through an office or something. Like the barrel's going to be fucking knocking in the shit, knocking things over. Like you're going to have to keep adjusting it, and it's just, they're not comfortable. They're not convenient. But damn, they're nice to have in a fight. Pistols, like I said, carry it all damn day long. And you got to think as well, law enforcement is not getting into gunfights every single day. Now, when you look at it from the national perspective, yeah, there's a lot of gunfights. When you put the magnifying glass on and you go down to the local level, think about your local agency. When's the last time they've been involved in a gunfight? It's probably been a while. And if it was just recent, try to think about the last time they've been involved in a gunfight. Probably been a while. So the majority of law enforcement out there gets to go their entire career and never have to fucking shoot anybody. They may have to point the guns at some people, but they never have to shoot people. So that is also a factor into why pistols are carried all the time. There's just not that many fucking gunfights going on. If the opposite was happening, if there was gunfights going on all the damn time, I can guarantee you that rifles would be carried a lot more often, because they would quickly find out that the pistols suck, really truly suck, and the best thing to have for gunfights is a rifle. So this, like I said, is one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to videos like this, is officers neglecting to get rifles out when they need to be getting them out. I think a lot of this has to do with a lack of good instructors out there, having a good fighting mindset and instilling a good fighting mindset in their officers. There's a lot of agencies out there that, as far as in-house goes, they will send people off to instructor school to become instructors for different things. And those people they send are typically office people, like officers who have a desk job. And the reason why they do that is because it's easier to schedule that officer to conduct training, and they be able to clear their office schedule to make that happen. Whereas if they had a street officer having to conduct a class, well, now they got to find someone to cover their shift. So that means they got to find someone for overtime on top of the overtime that this officer is now having to do to go teach this class. And for small agencies, that can be a problem. So a lot of places will just take someone from the office and say, hey, you're going to firearms school or whatever, and then they become an instructor. Well, just because you go through firearms instructor school doesn't mean you're the greatest instructor ever. There's a lot of people within law enforcement, military, and in the private commercial area that have instructor credentials, and they fucking suck ass. Like, they do not need to be an instructor. And there's a lot of police instructors who do not need to be police instructors. One thing to think about with police instructors is, these guys and girls, they've got that certification or that blessing some time ago, and they've been able to keep it and stay in that spot. And the only reason why the majority of them have ever gone away from that spot is under their own power, under their own desire. They decided to go do something else, and then someone else took over that spot for them. Very rarely do these people get booted out because of performance, where the people they've taught have not performed very well. And when you go back to what I talked about, police just aren't getting into that many gunfights. Well, you go to an agency that has like 100 to 200 people or something like that, and the last time there was a fucking gunfight was 5-10 years ago. Well, it's kind of hard to gauge how well of an instructor you got when shit just ain't fucking happening. Like, how can you take this firearms instructor and be like, man, you're doing a really great job, or say, oh man, you're doing a really shitty job, when the stuff they're teaching to just isn't happening? Right? If there's no fucking gunfights going on, you can't evaluate this instructor and tell whether or not they're doing a good job or not. So that's one aspect of it. And then just two, like I said, it's typically office people that do this stuff, and if they're not moving out of the office, then someone else from an office position may be taking it over, and they themselves too, may not be as good. So I think some of the issue is bad instructors. They just don't have that good fighting mindset. And then the training aspect of itself, I just don't think the training is being done in a way that is realistic. So when you think about handgun training, all the handgun training, when it takes place on the range, that's more realistic than starting on the range with a rifle, because you're going to have that handgun on you all the time. Wherever you go, you're going to have that gun in that holster. So starting on the line with your gun holstered seems logical, seems realistic, right? Drill starts. Beep. Boom, get gun, shoot target. Just like you would in real life. When it comes to rifle training, that's where I think it's unrealistic, because you start on the line with the rifle. When do you ever just start with a rifle in your hands? You don't. It's not fucking Call of Duty. You just don't start there, going back and forth with the rifle in your hand, and then boom, it starts. That rifle has to be gotten from somewhere. So that's going to be a car. And what I think needs to happen with rifle training and shotgun training is it needs to start from within the vehicle. The student needs to be in a car, and that's where the training starts, from within the vehicle. You've got to get the gun out of its magnetic lock mount, or go to the trunk or the cargo, get it out of wherever it's at, get it out, go to the shooting line, and then start shooting. Because that's more realistic. That's how you're going to get that rifle out and put it into play. You're just not going to start with the fucking rifle in your hand like you're just going to start with a gun in your holster. Two totally different things. So, not so good instructors with no real good fighting mindset, and realistically unrealistic training, in my opinion. And you can also see the unrealistic training aspect from a lack of using the sling, like what you see right here. He's just laying the gun down on the ground. It's got a sling on it, from what I could tell. Why not sling the damn thing? Because he's probably not used to slinging it in a class. You know, these impact munition classes, a lot of it, you know, starts off with PowerPoint bullshit, and then it goes into the hands-on stuff, and you just do small amount of stuff for qualifications. It's not like you're out there shooting thousands of, you know, or hundreds of rounds of these things, and having to have long times of time where you're standing around with this weapon slung. They don't have them in a lot of times just walking around with slung weapons. One, there may not be enough of these things to go around. There may just be 2 or 3 of them in use, and while they're on the line using them, everyone else is hanging out until they rotate in. So they never get the opportunity to sling the things. Even when it comes to, you know, live guns and stuff like that, typically a lot of ranges have unrealistic rules set up for the name of safety. There's a lot of shooting ranges out there that do not allow you to walk around with a loaded gun in your holster. You have to walk around that range with that gun unloaded and the slide locked to the open. There's even some police ranges that are like that. Why? That is fucking dumb. That is unrealistic. So if it's like that, they're sure as shit not walking around with rifles slung. They're going to put them on a rifle rack or leave them at the firing line somewhere. So again, more unrealistic training that goes on. A rifle class should have you walking around with your loaded rifle slung when you're not actively engaged in a string of fire. You should get used to fucking wearing that damn thing. Because when you think about it, in a real world scenario, if you're not shooting with that rifle, you're either holding it in your hands or you're going to have it slung. And you need to be able to know how to sling it and how to hold it so that when you need to go hands-on, you can retain that weapon on your body and use both your hands for whatever task that you need to use it for, not laying it on the fucking ground. You don't need to be laying your rifles or shotguns on the ground. You should have a sling on them. So, obviously he has not trained realistically, and he's laying a weapon on the ground, unsecured. Now, granted, it's still less lethal. I mean, it's not like it's going to be the end of the world if someone gets a hold of it, but still, it is a weapon that he is leaving on the ground unattended just so that he can go operate with his pistol. It's got a sling on it. You need to be able to utilize it.
Watch out.
Show me your hand, dude! Don't do that! Show me your hand! Show me your hand!
So the Coors thing back here, I don't know if this is like a fridge or an advertisement banner thing. I don't know. It just stuck out to me. Something that was interesting.
There you go. Sarge, you go up. You go up.
Take cover, get off the back!
Back out.
Back up!
Of course, don't see anyone else with any long guns.
Bring some cars up.
Show me your hand, dude!
Hey, we need to put a body here though to protect Grandma. We need to put bodies here to protect.
All right, now he is aiming with one hand, and if he has to start shooting, his accuracy is cut in half. You're not going to shoot very accurately with a one-handed grip on a pistol. You need both hands on that pistol to make it as accurate as you can, which is, again, why he needs to be utilizing the sling on this less lethal. Sling this shotgun across his back, secure it, retain it, and then go to two-handed grip on pistol.
That's Mom. Ah! Mom. Mom. Chris, go ahead and take that breezeway.
Officer number 1 and a canine officer repositioned themselves into a breezeway to prevent Mr. Flores from entering the home. Officers near the garage continued to give Mr. Flores commands to surrender. Mr. Flores exited the car and ran to the backyard. As he rounded the corner of the garage, Mr. Flores pointed what appeared to be a firearm at Officer number 1, who Flores saw on the breezeway as he turned the corner. Officer number 1 discharged his service weapon.
Mom. Chris, go ahead and take that breezeway to lethal.
To Baker 10, be advised he brandished a weapon, chrome in color.
Okay.
I just knew we had to protect the house.
Oh, yeah. No.
Off. To Baker 10 to Hutchins, watch to us to the west. Watch to the west.
Gun! Gun! Show me hands! Gun! Gun!
Okay, so when I show these videos from like New York police and Los Angeles police, one of my biggest gripes is them holding a fucking portable radio in their hand and then something suddenly happening. So this is what I'm talking about with lapel mics. This is the best illustration of the need for lapel mics on portable radios for public safety. He was talking on the radio, and boom, the threat presented itself, and he needed to start fighting. What was he able to do? He was able to let go of the lapel mic and get a good, solid, two-handed grip on that pistol and start fighting. If he had been doing it LAPD or NYPD style, he would have had a stupid-ass radio in his hand and probably would have been slapping the radio hand with the radio in it to his gun, trying to get a two-handed grip, and it not being a real true two-handed grip. It would have been basically a one-handed grip at that point, because you can't get a good grip, two-handed grip, when there's something in your damn support hand. So this is why portable radios need to have a lapel mic on them for when situations rapidly evolve like this. Let's back it up real quick, and we'll see this again.
To Baker 10 to Hutchins, watch to us to the west. Watch to the west.
Gun! Gun! Show me hands! Gun! 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 Don't move! Gun! Gun right hand! He's right there, he's down right here, he's down right here! Step back! Don't move! I can't see him. Right side, you guys. Right side, Sarge. Hold on. I can't see the gun. He has it in his right hand.
The following is a portion of the previous video which has been slowed, paused, and highlighted. It shows Mr. Flores pointing what appears to be a firearm at Officer number 1.
To Baker 10 to Hutchins, watch to us to the west. Watch to the west.
Officers approached Mr. Flores, began medical aid, and cleared the way for paramedics to arrive on the scene. Mr. Flores was transported to the hospital, where he was pronounced deceased. Officers located what Mr. Flores pointed at officer number 1. It was determined later to be a replica firearm.
It looks real. I mean, most people, you throw that in front of them, they're not going to know if that's real or not. Even at the bottom, it looks like, you know, where a magazine could go into the gun. The common person is not going to know the difference at all. Most officers out there, which here's a shocker to you. Most cops are not gun people at all. There's some cops who fucking struggled to pass firearms qualification. There's some officers out there who failed it the first time and had to pass it on the second and third time. Right? Like there's cops out there who were not raised up around guns. The first time they've ever held a gun or shot a gun was when they joined the police department or sheriff's office, whatever. And even while they're employed by these agencies, the only time they ever touch their gun and shoot it is when they're ordered to for training. Like, they don't give a fuck about guns. They don't care about guns. And there's actually some cops out there, if you gave it to them as a choice, they would probably go to work without a gun. I know what you're thinking, like, that's fucked up. Yeah, it is fucked up. But there's some fucked up cops out there who are like that. They would literally choose not to carry a gun. There's some cops out there that you don't want having a gun. So even for a lot of cops, there's no way to tell at a distance where it's very dynamic and fluid and rapidly evolving tense situation that you're going to be able to tell if that's real or fake. Even in the still photo where there's no movement going on, no threat of you about to fucking die, just in a photo, it looks like a real gun. So you throw this into someone's hand and they're running towards you and they're lifting this thing up towards you and you think you're about to die, there's no damn way you could ever tell whether or not the thing was real or not. So yes, of course, officers are justified in using deadly physical force against this guy. But, of course, there's going to be some dumbasses out there. Oh shit, the BB gun, but they have to shoot him. Those people are fucking stupid.
This concludes the critical incident video of the officer-involved shooting that occurred on May 19th, 2022.
All right.
Watch us to the west. Watch to the west. Watch to the west.
So he shoots. The guy appears to go down and he shoots some more. So I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be some people who fucking complain about that too. Why did he continue to shoot when it appeared as though the guy he went down to the ground? Just because someone goes down to the ground doesn't mean they're no longer a threat. A person can still go down on the ground and still be a threat. They can still move around. And it looked like to me this guy was still moving to some extent. And as he says during this video, he says that the gun is still in his hand. So from this officer's perspective, his point of view, what he can see is a lot more clear than what we can see in this camera. It looks like to this officer, this guy's still a threat, and this guy could still potentially shoot at him with the gun that he has. The gun that this officer believes is a real gun. So I have no problem with the amount of rounds that he fired at the guy. There's so many people that when you look at these news articles and stuff, there's so many people who always complain about the amount of rounds fired. They seem to think that firing more than like 2-3 rounds is murderous. It's like you intend to really want to kill somebody or murder them with no real good justification if you fire more than just a few rounds. There's no set rule on how many times a person needs to be shot. The training The mindset is you shoot until the threat is stopped. If they've fallen on their ass, it doesn't mean the threat is stopped. You can still shoot sitting on your ass. You can still shoot laying on your back, laying on your side. So just because a person has fallen down to the ground, it doesn't mean the threat is stopped. They can still be a threat laying on that ground, sitting on that ground. So how many rounds does it take to stop a person? I don't know. There's no set number on that. You just shoot until the threat is stopped. And that's what this officer did. He fired until the threat was over, until the threat was stopped. We'll see it again.
West, watch to the west.
Gun, gun! Show me your hands! Gun, gun! Gun! Don't move!
Really not much else to talk about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.